Very happy with the win. Not a surprise the way the game was played. Tough matchup South Florida is for us. I believe team sports are all about matchups, and their size and athleticism is a problem for us. And if we're not able to turn South Florida over and get out on the break, and they get deliberate in the half court, that's a problem. Second problem is missed layups and missed wide open three-point shots. Because you're not going to dominate the offensive glass against them. They're too big, too strong. So that's why you saw that's why the score of the game is what it was. Give them credit for handling our pressure pretty well, finishing around the rim the way they did. Give my guys credit for finding a way to win despite missing a lot of layups. And like I said, a lot of I thought target practice from the three-point line, where I thought we missed about 10 wide open threes. Puts a lot of pressure on you because you can't just grab the rebound and lay it in, and we're not stealing the ball to get layups either. So we got a lot of guys logging a lot of minutes in the month of January, so we need Jermaine Lawrence back. Fortunately, he's been working out and he's looking good and getting closer. Concerned with Justin Titus.
Did SK say out of practice yesterday because he was sick?
Yeah.
How sick? Was it just like a flu? Or?
You know, I know I went to LaSalle in the great University of Cincinnati, but I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that
Well,
question.
you know what his symptoms are, don't you?
No, I don't. You'd be amazed at that. They tell me what it is. And I try to concern myself with the game. And they just tell me if he can play or not.
So for him to do what he did again and down the stretch when he wasn't feeling well, I guess that says even more about his passion for winning.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same. You know, the same. Absolutely, with him. No doubt about it. And the guy's gonna, knock on wood, be the second guy in the history of this program to score over 2,000 points. He's maybe the most underrated great player that's ever played here, and I was really happy for him Thursday night to start. I think it woke people up nationally to who he is. The attention helps recruiting when you're ranked and all that. That helps the program, but I want it to help my players because they have hopes and dreams. I think he has definitely not gotten the attention. He's clearly the player of the year in this league. 10 games in. Now there's obviously 8 games to go, but he's clearly the player of the year in this league. Everything that he does for our team. That's saying a lot now. There's some real players in this league.
Did you use him any differently today because of how he was feeling? I mean, it seemed like he played.
No, I put Larry Davis on my staff, so he was in charge of keeping an eye on him. You know, I just told SK, make sure you give him a signal if you need out. But that never happened.
You said you give your team credit for finding a way to win. Does part of that come from just winning so much that they expect to win and they find?
A lot harder than you think now. Ask 10 ranked teams that lost yesterday. It's a lot harder than you think. You know, especially when you're not running around with 13 guys on scholarship.
Yeah.
And right now, with Jermaine Lawrence out, we got 9 guys on scholarship that can play. They all played today. You know, with JL, Day-Day, Deshaun Morgan, hurt. Jamari's not cleared. JD went home to be with his family. Not too many teams running up 9 guys on scholarship on 14-game winning streaks in the middle of conference play. It's a lot to be said for my guys. You know, I give my guys all the credit. You know, it's easy to sit there and judge. It's hard to go out there and get it done night in and night out. And the target continues to get bigger on their back. I worry about fatigue with this team. You know, I have to really be, because of, especially with Jermaine Lawrence. You know, he is, as much as Jack tells you he's a machine, it looks like at times he looks like he's made of rubber. He's tired. because there was 3 times defensive rebounding where he gave up an offensive rebound, somebody jumped over him. That never happens. But I give South Florida credit. You know, I don't like to diffuse. You know, I thought they competed hard. They 2 things were going to keep. I thought were going to keep the game close. If they took care of the ball against our press, and if we struggled to make open shots, which we really should. And I didn't think we missed layups as well. All 3 of those things happened. They took care of the ball, we missed wide open shots, and we missed layups. Obviously, the only thing we did well was make free throws.
Have you found yourself managing already this situation with Jackson and Titus and?
Oh, we've been doing it. Since Jermaine Lawrence got hurt, you know, we had to have a staff meeting. Our practices have been almost nil, 5-on-5, almost all 4-on-4, 5-on-O's, and very little breaking out and running up and down. We just don't have the numbers to do it.
Does Jackson get as much out of his ability as almost anyone you've ever coached?
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say no. You know, and I have to think about other guys you coach. I mean, Deontay Bond did here, but you know, good for a guy who wasn't the greatest, Steve Logan. But for a bigger guy, you know, no question. This year he is.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought he could do more. He just needed to buy into being a big guy. You know, too many guys 6'7" or 6'8" are told they got to be a small forward to play in the pros. And they run around practicing and doing things that they can't do instead of accentuating who they are. And he, you know, as you know, he's dominating. I wouldn't trade him for anyone. Any college big guy.
How many times over the previous 3 years, say, did you walk into practice and find him shooting three-point shots?
Multiple. Many.
And did you say the same thing to him every time, which was?
Yeah, you talk to him, you know, about, I understand, and you know, then he would say, well, I made some in high school. But, you know, it's so different, you know. And in defense of him, I take a lot of the blame now. You gotta remember now, he played with a lot of big guys. He played with Biggie, Ibrahima Thomas, and Yancey, and Sheck. So, you know, it's not like I was playing him at the 5. You know, he was playing more at the 4. And then what happened too in the Sweet 16 year with when you think back, when we played without Yancey, he played center and he played his best basketball. You know, but then Yancey comes back and he's back to the 4, which pushes him further away from the basket. So in defense of him, a lot of it is art. You know, it's my fault, logistics. You know, the situation. You know, I remember Buzz Williams telling me there was a game late in the year that year. Yancey got 2 quick fouls. Justin played center the rest of the half. We went way up, 15 or whatever. Buzz saying you got lucky because Yancey got 2 quick fouls, and Justin came in and blocked 6 shots in the first half. He was all over the place. And that's all stuff when I sat him down to talk to him about embracing being an inside guy, I showed him that stuff. Look what happened when you did play the 5, when you were playing your best basketball. He's quicker than the guys guarding. And when he makes that short bank shot, he's really hard to guard. I mean, teams if they don't double team him, he was going to get 25 today. They started trapping him and doubling him every time in the second half.
He said you showed him film of Eric Hicks and Kenyon, other guys who got the most out of their ability.
Played bigger than they were. Right? Played bigger than they were. Just ferocious guys.
Yeah.
It's not how big you are; it's how big you play. You know, and he's got that kind of heart. That stuff is rare to find. When you start talking about those 2 guys, you're talking about 2 of the toughest guys ever played, period. Forget Cincinnati. Them guys were ferocious guys now. And Eric Hicks was a dominant center for the 1 year in the Big East at 6'6".
First team all conference.
First team all conference Big East at 6'6", playing the 5. So that's that's a tremendous compliment to Justin that people see him as that type of guy. But that's who he needs to be. That's who we need him to be, and that's how he's going to have a career.
You only got 2 points from your bench today.
Yeah.
And when you're already limited to 9 scholarship, that puts a lot of pressure on your starters.
Yeah, a lot. But to be honest, you know, Titus and Shaq are combined 2 for 13. So, hey, like I said, Bill, you can't make a wide open shot when you're missing layups. it doesn't become what you're running as much as, you're just praying somebody makes a shot here or there, or you can get a deflection or get a run out to get a foul.
You actually did out-rebound them, I think.
Yeah.
Right. But like you said, they only had like 5 or 6 turnovers.
Yeah, we didn't let them kill us on the backboard, but we didn't turn them over. I think we forced like 15 or 16 a game. They did a good job of that.
Coach, what's it mean for this team down the stretch that G-Line continues to
Huge.
emerge as a big shooter?
Yeah, it's like Bill just mentioned. We gotta have. We don't beat Louisville if he don't knock down 2 threes. He knocked down 2 today. G-Line's a guy. If you ask him, I don't know if he came in here. He shot the ball well his whole career in drills here and practice here. But it's different when you get out there in these type of environments, and he's finally comfortable. He's confident. That has a lot to do with it. Nervousness is a problem on offense. Nerves are you cannot play. You can't shoot the ball with nerves either.
It showed up on that first 3 he had, because that was kind of out there.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
mad at him. He passed up a few more. I thought he passed up a few shots. He knows that guys knew SK was sick. We're struggling. He's making shots. I thought he passed up a few.
How aware are you of Justin's mean face?
I'm aware of it. People tell me I got one too, so.
Yeah, you really do.
I would say that people would be a lot more scared of him than me, though.
How would you describe his mean face?
He's a guy that plays with emotion, and I think people get, it concerns me that other opposing coaches or referees take it the wrong way.
Yeah. Do you ever tell him to tone it down?
Yeah, I worry. I don't want him. I'm worried about his career. I don't want people to see him for the first time and think, "Oh, that guy's crazy."
Think officials.
He's just, yeah. Well, the guys that know him in our league. But when you get a guy that hasn't had him, they can't wait to run over because they're worried he's going to, they just see all that emotion and all they care about's, I don't want anything to happen. They don't realize that's.
Oh, they're afraid he's going to get in a fight.
Yeah, it's just.
What about your mean face? They worry about you.
Like I said, I'm not intimidated.
So you told him to tone it down?
You got to realize. I told him you got to realize the refs don't. If the refs don't know you, these guys say something right away. I don't want. It's tough because his career is my concern. But at the same time, you can't take away who he is.
How successful have you been at telling him that?
Well, I think a lot of his success this year is because he's controlled his emotions. He's a much more cerebral player. Like for instance, today when he got the 1 foul, I took him out, I put him back in. He made sure he didn't get another one quickly. He's always asking me, how many do I have? Do I have any to give? Much more cerebral player than he used to be. And a lot of that's because he's much more under control emotionally, playing with a lot more mental discipline out there.
You're probably going to be in the top 10 tomorrow, and I know you don't have a whole lot of respect for AP voters, but that must mean something for the program, I guess, to get, especially when you started out unranked.
Yeah, no, like I said, it helps recruiting, it helps attendance, and it gets my players the attention they deserve. Those are the pluses to that stuff. I'm concerned with all the things that are keeping my team fresh, improving, getting guys healthy. We got a big week, UConn and SMU on the road. UConn home, SMU road. It's a tough week for us, and we need that week off. Our guys are all eyeing that week off in between games, so we got to find a way to get fresh enough to get 2 W's this week, get to that week off. But for us, it's development, where we're trying to go. It doesn't really matter where you are now. College basketball, you're trying to, you want to have a great year, but my seniors have goals, and we understand the importance of seeding in the NCAA tournament because the last 3 years we have had terrible draws, terrible. Because of the UConn playing them in the second round on a team I thought that team could have went to a Final Four that year. There was no dominant team in college basketball. We caught the national champs in the second game, gave them all they wanted. The Sweet 16 year, look at who we would have had to play if we had beat Ohio State. We already had to beat Texas and Florida State. Look at last year. So, seeding's important. My players are keenly aware of that because of what's happened.
How much of a chance does Jermaine Lawrence have of getting back this week?
Again, I went to LaSalle. It's a great education. Obviously, they didn't let me, I didn't qualify to take any medical courses here. But at the end of the day, here's how it's going to be, guys. He's got to practice a little bit, and then we'll see. He's got his practice, we'll see, because of the jumping with the turf toe, and the pushing off and the
So
line.
he hasn't gotten to that point yet.
Workouts are one thing, but just jump, run, change direction, all that stuff, and then you got to see how does he feel the next day after. Because his foot's, he's been in a boot for a month, so we'll see. From what Dr. Calcimo tells me, it's just going to be a gradual process. We got to get him out there, and even if it's, you got to get him in practice, then eventually you got to get him in the game, and it's not going to be he walks out and he's going to be. But he's never going to get back to normal if he doesn't start. So, we'll see. He's starting in individual workouts, but it's how quickly does he feel good enough to keep progressing? A lot of it's up to him, what he says with that type of injury. So, cross our fingers and hope to, I'm hoping he could help us Thursday. But obviously, I'm not going to play him if he doesn't feel great. But even if he plays Thursday, he's going to play 5 minutes. He hasn't played. Mm-hmm. But then that'll help him get closer, to getting back to normal. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.